We're going to talk about using curves to edit colors. But before we really get into using curves, we need to just kind of look at our RGB color model here. So we have our red, green, and blue. And we need to talk about a relationship that happens when we do curves. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about this and show you at the same time. So let me go ahead. I'm going to make a new layer. And I am just going to make a filled gray shape there, and that's just a standard gray, medium gray. So the way this works, I'm going to do a destructive edit. Now, normally we're going to do non-destructive. For this one, we're just going to go ahead and do destructive. So we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go to Curves. Now, with curves open, we can work with different channels. So right here, we're viewing a histogram. Notice we only have one gray tone, so there's just one solid line up and down in the middle. And right now, we're set to work with the RGB channel. So when we work with this curve, we're actually controlling how dark, how light, and the distribution of where stuff is within our gray square. We can make things darker or lighter. We can adjust highlights. We can adjust shadows, things like that. You can always take and pull your point off. So really, though, the power of curves comes in when you work with the individual channels. So when I click here on channels, if I choose red, now I can change just the colors in the red channel. So let's just talk about how this works. So you see here in our RGB color model, we have the color red. So if I grab my red channel and I push it up, you'll notice I am adding red to my image. Now, if I pull this down, I'm not actually adding or taking away red. Really what I'm adding is the cyan color that happens here across from red. So the relationship is either I'm adding red or I'm adding cyan to my image. So in this case, I'm adding cyan. So let's go ahead, let's pull that off. Same thing happens in the green channel. So when I'm in the green channel, it's green and magenta are the two that are across from each other. So I'm either adding green or adding magenta to my image. Let me go ahead and just drag that off. And of course, blue and yellow are the ones that are across from each other. So either you're adding blue to your image or you're adding yellow to the image. So it helps to understand and to keep in mind this relationship that happens when you're editing colors, because the choices you get only say red, green, blue, but really you're controlling 6 different colors and how they appear in the image. So let's go ahead and let's just take an example of how to actually use curves, and we're going to do it non-destructively. So here's my image from Adobe Stock, and one of the first things you need to do is just kind of look at the image and decide, how does it feel? Well, in this case, when I look at this image, it feels cold. You can see that it's definitely got blues in it and things like that. And if you're questioning what kind of colors are there, you can always pull up your info palette and you can roll over and you can see what kind of colors you have. And so here we can see red is at 180, green 166, and blue at 165. So you can kind of watch your colors and use this to decide what color is there, what color isn't there. In this case, I think we're just kind of cold and we need to work on it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add a new adjustment layer. We're going to turn on curves, which is right here. Now, inside this palette, we can go ahead and we can make our changes. So for right now, the brightness contrast, maybe we want to brighten up the highlights just a little. There we go, just like that. And if you want to bring your shadows down just a little bit, you can bring your shadows down. So I just added a little bit of contrast. We can always come back later and change that. So let's go into the red channel and let's just explore and look around. I don't think there's too much red. Now, the opposite side of red is cyan. There might be a little bit of cyan in there. So what you can do is you can always use this click and drag right here, and we can work on the skin tones. That's normally what you want to work on with your model. So you can go ahead and select an area that you want to move, and notice as I roll over, you can see on my curves, it's showing me on my histogram there where I'm located. So I'm just going to click there for right now and see how I can add some red or take it away. Overall, I think it was pretty close. I don't think we need much there. So let's go ahead and let's jump on over to the green one. Now, obviously, you see there's a lot of green in our image and our shadows, and we want to leave those green. On the opposite side of green is magenta, and I don't think there's a magenta cast in her, but let's go ahead and play. But no, as I thought, there's really nothing there. So we're just going to grab that point and we can rip it off. Really, I think most of our problems in this image lie in our blue channel, and I think we need to take out some blue. So we just want to click, drag, and take out some blue. Now, you don't want to get crazy with your curves. You want to try to keep them looking good. In this case, once I start pulling out some of that, I think we have a little bit of green that needs to be dealt with. And maybe there is a little bit of cyan. So really it's up to you to play and decide what looks good for your model. I think that's starting to look better, a little bit more natural. We could keep playing with it, but you guys see the tones look a little bit better. We could even make her a little bit brighter in there. So really curves is about just picking an area and working on tweaking that area. And the really neat thing about curves is you can literally pick a point in the image and you can control its color and how bright it actually is. So really that is all you need to know to work with curves. You just need to look at your image, pick your points, identify what colors are there, and start moving things around. Now, make sure you keep your curves kind of to a normal look. If you start to get extreme, you're going to get some extreme looks in your image, unless that's what you want. All right, guys, welcome back. So now we're going to talk about how to get your file set up to do the color corrections. So I made this big file to kind of make it easier for you. So let's go ahead and let's just zoom in on this project real quick. So what I've done here, I've given you the original and the retouched version on the right. Now you're looking at me, you're like, well, they're both the same. Well, of course they are, because you're going to do the retouching. So what you're going to do, we're going to set a curves adjustment on just this picture on the right. So you're going to grab your selection tool. You're going to select this image. And you're going to go over here to your layers panel, and you're going to go ahead and create a new curves adjustment. And now if you notice, here's our curves adjustment, and we have a mask, and this mask is only allowing us to edit this one picture. Now you can go in there and you can start working with each of the colors. So if we look at this young lady, she has a lot of blue in her. So what we're going to do is we're going to click blue. I can grab my scrubby slider and I can start to maybe take out a little bit of blue. Maybe I can add some red. And you notice already with just those two actions, this picture is already looking a lot better. You can also play with the RGB values a little bit. So I can say, you know what? I kind of want this area to be a little darker, this area to be a little lighter. So you guys can play around with it with what you think is the best. But at the end, I want to be able to see the original and what you think looks best here. And that's all you need to do for this assignment.